4-H Online is an enrollment management system used to manage the people who join Washington State 4-H. If you are participating in 4-H as an enrolled youth member or certified volunteer, this video will walk you through how to enroll. There are 3 parts to a 4-H enrollment: a family profile, which is where member and volunteer profiles are housed; a member record, which collects basic information including personal and demographic data; and an enrollment record, which collects participation information, health information, and consents. If you are brand new to 4-H Online in Washington State, you will need to begin by creating a family profile. Think of the family profile as a bucket where the 4-H member and volunteer records are held. To create your family profile, you will need an email address, a phone number, mobile preferred, a password, and a valid mailing address. If you get a notification that a duplicate was found when creating a new family profile, reach out to your local extension office for assistance. You can find your local extension office's contact information at extension.wsu.edu/locations. To create your family profile, first click the Don't Have an Account button on the main login page of 4-H Online. Next, you'll choose Washington under the Select Your State dropdown. Once you have selected Washington, you'll be asked to select your institution. Currently, you only have one option, so click on Washington 4-H Youth Development. Now you'll be asked to select a county. Using the drop-down, select the county where you reside, regardless of what county you are participating in. Once you have selected your county, the rest of the form opens. Here you'll need to provide the following: an email address, a family name, a mobile phone number. You can use a landline if you do not have a mobile phone number, but a phone that can receive text messages is preferred, and a password. Passwords must be a minimum of 10 characters and must contain a number, a capital letter, and a symbol. Once all of the required information is complete, click Create Account. On the next screen, you'll be asked to provide an address. The address needs to be one that can be verified by the Postal Service. You may be given a few options for a verifiable address, so choose the correct one from the provided options. If you have any issues using your address, contact your local extension office for assistance. Typically, you will receive a message saying no matches found, contact your county administrator. Now that you have your family profile established, it's time to add your first member or volunteer by creating their member record. If you have just created your family, you will be automatically taken to the Add Member screen. If you have a previously established family profile, you can add a member by clicking the blue Add Member button in the top right corner of your family home screen. The first question asked is which program you would like to join. The only option available right now is 4-H, so go ahead and select that and click Next. Next, you'll be asked to provide some personal information. The required fields are first name, last name, and birth date. Once you have added your birth date, an additional field will appear asking for number of previous years in program. If this is your first year, put 0. If you have participated in 4-H before, in Washington or another state, put the number of years you have participated previously, then click Next. Now you'll be asked for some demographic information. Fill out the required fields and click Next at the bottom. Finally, you'll be asked how you are participating in 4-H. If you are going to be participating as an enrolled member or volunteer, you'll choose the I want to join 4-H as a new or returning member or volunteer button. Then click Finish. You'll automatically move on to the next part, creating your enrollment record. If you are a youth member participating in a 4-H activity but not enrolling as a 4-H member, you can choose the I want to participate in a 4-H activity but do not want to join 4-H at this time. In this section, we are covering the enrollment process for youth members. The volunteer enrollment section will be covered next. During each section of the enrollment process, you'll be presented with a page message regarding the section you are currently in. Please take the time to read these page messages as they provide important information and instructions. First, you will be asked to select your clubs. Read the page message and then click Select Clubs at the bottom to begin. Once you click Select Clubs, a box will appear. The county dropdown will automatically fill with the county your family profile is associated with. That's the one you chose during the Create Family process. If you need to select a club in another county, use the dropdown to select the appropriate county. If you are acting in a youth leadership role such as an officer, use the Youth Volunteer Role dropdown to indicate your role for the club you will be selecting. Once you have selected your county and volunteer role if needed, find your club from the list and click Add. Now that you have added your first club, you can use the Select Units button to add additional clubs. Repeat this process until you have added all the clubs you will be participating in this year. The first club you added will automatically be designated as your primary club. If you need to change your primary club, you can use the Change to Primary button to switch it. A confirmation box will appear. Click Confirm to make the change. If you need to remove a club added to your list, use the garbage bin icon to remove the club. Take notice of the invoice box on the right side of your screen. This will present you with a running total of your enrollment invoice. Some counties charge an additional county programming fee. If your county charges additional fees, you'll see them included here as well. Once you've selected all your clubs, click Next to move on to the Projects section. Now you are ready to add your projects. Read the page message and then click Select Projects at the bottom to begin. At the top is a drop-down that allows you to indicate which club you want to look at. Currently, the club will default to the first one alphabetically, so make sure you are on the correct club before choosing to add a project. Once you have the correct club selected, find your project from the list and click Select. If your club has a lot of projects available, you can use the search bar at the top to search for your project. Start typing in the name of the project and it will filter the list. When you add a project, you may need to indicate how many years you have participated in that project. If this is your first year, leave it as 1. If you have participated in this project before, use the drop-down to select the appropriate number of years. Click Add to add the project to your list. After you have selected your first project, use the Select Projects button to add additional projects. Repeat this process until you have added all the projects you will be participating in this year. If you need to delete a project, use the garbage bin icon to remove the project from your list. The third section is the Questions section. Read the page message and then click Show Questions at the bottom. Some of the information in this section will automatically populate from the answers given when creating a member record, but it is a good idea to look the information over to verify it is still correct. New information required on the screen include parent-guardian information, school information, family military service, pronouns used, and preferred method of contact. Fill this information in and then click Next at the bottom. Next, you'll be asked some health questions. Read the page message and click Show Health Form at the bottom to begin. For each question with a yes or no answer, select the appropriate radio button. If you select yes, you'll be asked to provide additional information. Please be concise but accurate. If you do not wish to share additional details, please put Prefer Not to State in the required text field. Other required information includes doctor or preferred health provider's contact information, health insurance information, and a signed medical release form. Complete these pieces and then click Next at the bottom. Now we are at the Consents section. Read the page message and click Show Consents at the bottom to begin. Read all the consents carefully. These agreements are a requirement for enrolling in 4-H. To agree to each consent, you'll type the youth member's name in the member name field and the parent or guardian's name in the parent/guardian field. Click the radio button to indicate your consent. The photo, image, and voice recordings consent is the only consent you have the option to decline. Select the appropriate radio button for your choice. Once you have read and agreed to all the consents on this page, click Next to move on to the Payment section. The last section before submitting a youth enrollment is paying the 4-H state enrollment fee and any applicable local programming fees. Like previous sections, please read the page message and click Show Payment Options to view the payment screen. An overview of the fees owed can be found in the invoice box on the right side of your screen. 4-H enrollment fees can be paid by an electronic payment method, such as a credit card, or a non-electronic payment method, such as a check. County 4-H programs determine which payment methods they will accept, so you may not see both options if your county does not allow a certain payment method. If you would like to pay by an electronic payment method and it is allowed by your county, use the Add a New Card section to add your card information. If you would prefer to use a non-electronic payment method and it is allowed by your county, click the Pay by Check button. When you select Pay by Check, a pop-up box will appear. Read the refund policy and click the Agree radio button, then click Confirm to select this payment method. If you decide to change the payment method selected, you can use the Change Payment Method button on the payment screen. Please note that once your enrollment is submitted, the Extension Office must return the enrollment to change the payment method. Double-check your payment method is correct and click Next. If you notice Payment Required in red letters on your family home screen, there are two potential reasons. If you selected an electronic payment method and it was declined, you may need to submit your payment method again. Click on the Payment Required link to be taken to a screen where you can verify or resubmit your card information. If you selected a non-electronic payment method, you will see the Payment Required flag until your County Extension Office has marked your payment as received. If you have any questions about the status of your payment, reach out to your County Extension Office. The very last step is to look over your enrollment and submit it for county review. Review this information carefully, and if it all looks correct, click Submit. Congratulations! You have submitted your youth enrollment record for review. If at any point during the enrollment process you run into trouble, reach out to your local extension office for assistance. In this section, we are going to cover how to create a volunteer enrollment record. To be considered a certified 4-H volunteer, you must complete the volunteer screening requirements and trainings outlined in Section 7 of the 4-H Policies and Procedures Handbook prior to enrolling in 4-H Online. During each section of the enrollment process, you'll be presented with a page message regarding the section you are currently in. Please take the time to read these page messages as they provide important information and instructions. The first thing you will do during the volunteer enrollment process is indicate the type of 4-H volunteer you are. Read the page message carefully and thoroughly so you understand the different volunteer types. Click Select Volunteer Types to begin. You'll first be presented with a pop-up box and a drop-down menu. Use the drop-down to select the volunteer type. Then you'll be asked to choose the correct role from the available options. Click Add next to the volunteer role to include it on your enrollment record. You can add additional volunteer roles by clicking Select Volunteer Types and choosing any other volunteer roles that reflect how you participate. Please note that all volunteers, regardless of volunteer type and role, will have the ability to choose clubs and projects. However, you will only select clubs or projects if you are a club or project volunteer. Other volunteers may skip those sections. Once all your volunteer types and roles have been added, click Next to move on to the next section. Now you will work on adding your clubs. Read the page message and then click Select Clubs at the bottom to begin. If you do not volunteer with a club, you can skip this section by clicking Next at the bottom prior to adding a club. To add a club, first choose the appropriate county from the County drop-down menu. This will automatically default to the county listed for your family profile. If you selected a club volunteer role, indicate which role is associated with this club by using the volunteer role drop-down. Next, find the club from the list and click the blue Add button to add the club to your enrollment record. Once you have added your first club, you can use the Select Units button to add additional clubs. The first club you added will automatically be designated as your primary club. If you need to change your primary club, you can use the Change to Primary button to switch it. A confirmation box will appear. Click Confirm to make the change. If you need to remove a club, use the garbage bin icon to delete the club from your list. Once your club selection is complete, click Next to move on to the next section. Now you will add your projects. Read the page message and then click Select Projects at the bottom to begin. If you do not volunteer with a project, you can skip this section by clicking Next at the bottom prior to adding projects. Like adding clubs, a pop-up box will appear. At the top is a radio button that allows you to indicate whether you are supporting the project at the club or county level. Selecting clubs will give you the option to link your project selection to one of your available clubs. Selecting county will give you the option to link the project selection to a county instead of a club. If you have indicated you are a club-based project volunteer, use the first drop-down to choose the club you would like to view projects for. If you have added more than one club, they will be listed alphabetically. If you are a county-wide project volunteer, you'll use this drop-down to specify which county you volunteer with. To add a project to your enrollment record, click the blue Select button next to the project name. If your club or county has a lot of projects listed, you can use the search bar at the top to search for your project. Start typing in the name of the project and it will filter the list. When you add a project, you may be asked to indicate how many years you have been in the project. If this is your first year, leave it as 1. If you have participated in this project before, use the drop-down to select the appropriate number of years. You can indicate the type of project volunteer you are using the Volunteer Type drop-down. Once you have indicated your years in project and volunteer type, click Add to add the project to your list. If you need to delete a project, use the garbage bin icon to remove the project from your list. Once you have added all your projects to your list, click the blue Next button to move on to the Questions section. To begin the Questions section, read the page message and then click Show Questions at the bottom. Some of the information on this page will automatically populate from the answers given when creating your member record, but it is a good idea to look the information over to verify it is still correct. Fill in your information and then click Next at the bottom to move on to the health form. Now you'll be asked some health questions. Read the page message and click Show Health Form at the bottom to begin. For each question with a yes or no answer, select the appropriate radio button. If you select Yes, you'll be asked to provide additional information. Please be concise with your details. If you do not wish to share additional details, please put Prefer not to state in the required text field. Other required information includes doctor or preferred health provider contact information, health insurance information, and a signed medical release form. Fill in the requested information and then click Next at the bottom. The last section is the Consents section. Read the page message and click Show Consents at the bottom to begin. Read each consent carefully. These consents are a requirement to volunteer with 4-H. To agree to each consent, select the radio button and then type your name in the member name field. The photo, image, and voice recordings consent is the only consent where you have the option to decline. Select the appropriate radio button for your choice. Once you have read and agreed to the consents on this page, click Next to move on to the next section. The very last step is to review your enrollment and submit it. If you selected any clubs or projects, they will be listed on this screen. Review the information carefully, and if everything looks correct, click the green Submit button at the bottom to submit your enrollment. A box will pop up asking you to confirm that you are ready to submit your enrollment. If you are sure everything looks correct, click Confirm. Congratulations! You have submitted your volunteer enrollment for review. If at any point during the enrollment process you run into trouble, reach out to your local extension office for assistance.